Hello, welcome to the VE Thought for the Day. I was thinking about VE today and how it must have felt for so many serving in His Majesty's forces at a time, and my mind drifted back to my own life experiences years before. When I finished my time in Her Majesty's forces, it was a strange affair. There were two of us finishing our service that day. At that time, it was 1982 on a cold February day in Scotland. We both arrived in a room dressed in civilian clothes, which was very strange in itself because for many years before, my life had always been in uniform. Carried all my worldly goods in a suitcase. And little did both of us know that a few months later, our country would be at war. And that's another story. What was strange? Well, we were both the same rank, both the same specialisation. We both joined the forces at the same time. Our ID numbers were only different by a few numbers, virtually a mirror of each other. As we chatted, a strange realization occurred to both of us. We had both decided not to extend our careers for opposite reasons. He wanted desperately to go to sea, and all he ever got was shore bases. And I wanted to spend more time on shore, as Elaine and I had just had Esther, our first baby. And being operational meant that I was away for 6 to 8 weeks at a time and normally came in for about a week alongside, but that wasn't always at our home port. Every year we were given a form called a preference form, and on it you could put down where you would like to serve. Would you like to be on land bases, sea, where would you go, like around the world? It's funny, if somebody higher up the ladder had only just read our preference forms, what a difference our two lives and those of our families could have been. Another irony is that a few months later, the RN was crying out for those with our specialisations, as there was not enough available in the fleet when we actually went to war, which we had trained for. We finished our chat, commented on in typical Navy language about how things could have been different if somebody had actually read our preference forms. Then our deliberations were interrupted by a nice, pleasant, quiet, unassuming voice screeching out my name to come forward. I said bye, left the room with my suitcase, and was greeted by somebody who needed to check who I was. It always amused me because that's who they called. Anyway, I had to sign various forms and was reminded that I was still under the Official Secrets Act and I had to let MOD know if I wanted to leave the country. Collected the documents which said, though I had now officially left the armed forces, I was still legally theirs for another 30 days. I found out later this was so that if I felt the urge to comment or do something untoward, then I could be arrested by the provost. I think that was really aimed more at those leavers who were rather disgruntled, because you're not likely to travel all the way back to the remotes of Scotland to vent your spleen at somebody 31 days later, are you? I was given my last one-way rail warrant and was sent on my way to walk the 2 miles to the nearest railway station or get a taxi. Strange experience because the RN always used to provide transport, but now I was a civilian. Little did I know that I would receive another one-way rail warrant in the future, as it was with my mobilisation papers a few months later. For the nation, all those years ago, it was the end of war in Europe. However, rationing still continued, the troops were still overseas, POWs were still far from home. The war in the Far East continues, and those who were in the forces, used to giving and taking orders for 5 long years, were not sure they would even see their home again. Lots of changes were ahead. So VE Day was a day where you could let your hair down, forget about those shortages, the uncertainties. It was the start of an era of hope. Today, after several weeks of lockdown and all the uncertainties that are around us at the moment, there is now on the horizon a glimmer of hope. The light at the end of the tunnel is flickering like a candlelight in the distance. So this bank holiday, this VE Day, take a little time to remember the VE Day of old and take their example to celebrate. Let's look forward to the hope which is set before us. Have a great, safe and blessed day. Thanks for watching.